You're listening to the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network, home of the #1 sports talk show on the planet.
This is Sports Talk with Hot Sauce, Texas Pete Hot Sauce, the Doug Stewart Show.
Broadcasting live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time, exclusively on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network. Follow Stewart Media and Entertainment right now on Facebook and stay connected and locked in for upcoming events like the Couples and Cocktails series, viewing parties, and much, much more. Up next, The Doug Stewart Show, Sports Talk with Hot Sauce.
Yeah!
Exclusively on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network.
Fantasy sports fans are winning huge cash prizes every day at DraftKings.com, America's favorite place to play daily fantasy sports. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Just pick your sport and draft your team. It's like a new season every time you play, so you're never stuck with the same players. Last year, $300 million were won at DraftKings.com, and you could be next to win big. Go to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code STEW to play for free. That's STEW for free entry now at DraftKings.com. Also, if you use promo code STEW, DraftKings will match your initial deposit up to $600. Deposit $600, play with $1,200. DraftKings.com, promo code STEW. This your boy Doug Stewart for my folks at System 5 Electronics. They're proud to offer my listeners here in the Metro Atlanta area all the way down to Macon, Georgia, the most affordable home security monitoring systems, featuring smart solutions for that busy lifestyle you lead for as low as $16.50 per month. Here's some of the reasons why you should choose System 5.
Hi, I'm Maceo Brown, President and CEO of System 5 Electronics. We take pride in making sure that security is the #1 thing that we do. And thanks to you, the customer that has supported us, we have grown this company in Southwest Atlanta, where we're creating jobs and opportunities.
Not only is their monitoring station here in Atlanta, but they also install the most advanced, up-to-date alarm systems where you can access cameras, lights, door locks, thermostats, and other devices remotely with your smartphone. 24/7 technical support, plus the lowest service call fees in the business. And check this. You own the security alarm system once it's installed. And you get direct access to the owner if you ever got a problem, Mr. Maceo Brown. Click on the banner on the Doug Stewart Show website or app for more details, or give them a call at 404-756-0736. Again, that's 404-756-0736, or online at System5electronicsinc.com. That's System5electronicsinc.com.
You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised.
Do you want that real sports talk? Unfiltered, unsanitized? Well, you have found it. This is a revolution in radio. The realest, trillest sports talk show in America. The Doug Stewart Show. This is sports talk for the people. Yeah! Welcome to the Doug Stewart Show. Yes! What's happening? Fresh off the plane. You know my damn name. Not actually off a plane, but fresh off a little vacation. Thank you so much for joining your boy on the Doug Stewart Show. This is a Man Talk Monday. Yes, sir. So if you follow me on Facebook and on Twitter or whatever, you may have seen some little pictures that were posted this past weekend. I went to the greatest vacation destination site in America, maybe the world. I went to Myrtle Beach this weekend. Yes! Yeah, I didn't really, discuss it too much because when I do radio, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, when I do radio, I don't like to tell people that I'm actually leaving town, and then you start paying attention to what I'm saying, and then you tell your boys, and they start casing my house or whatever. So I try to keep that kind of to myself till after the fact. But, yeah, I went out of town, actually had a little bit of business in South Carolina, as well as a planned guess you call it a homeboys trip. That's what we kind of call it, which we do yearly. We went to Myrtle Beach, played some golf. Me, my brother, a couple of homeboys as well. It's probably like 12 of us, a couple of frat brothers. Went to Myrtle Beach, man, and just fantastic time, man. Shouts out to the great city of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Shouts out to Broadway. I mean, just off the chain. Now, the weather caught us. The weather actually caught us on Saturday. So we didn't even play any golf on Saturday, man. Sunday we did play on the way back before we came back, but had a great weekend, man. A little refreshing time. And so I didn't do the show on Friday, but today what we're going to do is we're going to go over everything from this past weekend, talk about everything from this past weekend, and have a good time on the Doug Stewart Show. Yes. Yes, sir. March 16th, 2015, and a lot of stuff happened this past weekend. Obviously, we're going to talk a lot of college basketball. We're going to talk a little bit about, who we got here. Kentucky Wildcats obviously being the number one seed in the tournament. Some NFL news and notes, some NBA news and notes. Dez Bryant and Michael Irvin talking trash about Jerry Jones. Some little final news and notes from the world of free agency in the NFL. What else are we going to talk about here? Oh, I hate Christian Laettner. And I do hate Christian Laettner, just like everybody else in America. What else? Oh, we're going to talk about what it's going to take for me to get a $67 million jet. We'll get into that conversation as well. Yeah, we're going to get to all of that today on the Doug Stewart Show. The number to the show is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. But the easy way to be totally interactive with the show is to follow the show on Spreaker.com and then jump in the chat room. There's a little chat bubble, like a cartoon little talk bubble in the app and on the page on Spreaker.com. And when you jump in there, then you'll be instantly introduced to a new world of chatters and lovers of sports. Speaking of which, shouts out to everybody already in the chat room. Shouts out to my man, Rel Scott, Bella, John Fisher, JB Cummings, Fred Mack, Scotty, That Ninja, Jungle Brother. Shouts out to y'all. Yes, sir. All right, so we're going to get into all of that stuff, but you saw it last night. I'm pretty sure you did. I got back in time enough to watch it myself, and it was titled, I Hate Christian Laettner. And it talked about Laettner and the Duke Blue Devils and where this hate comes from the guy. And they gave all these great reasons, some of which that you can guess. It was great. It was fantastic. And the 30 for 30 series, man, they're just fantastic. Now, a lot of time I rail on the Puppet Factory, and I don't really rail on the Puppet Factory, the institution, talking about ESPN. I rail on cats up there that I think are fake, and that strings and comments and commentary and thoughts are being controlled by, the machine and being ESPN. But I always got to give credit where credit's due, man. And that 30 for 30 is just fantastic. It's just a different way to view sports and some of the biggest sports stories in our country's history. And something that dudes always talk about is how much they hate Christian Laettner and how much they hate certain players or they hate certain teams. And it's funny they bring this story to the forefront and talking about Laettner and actually name the episode I Hate Christian Laettner. It's almost like a phenomenon, but it's so true. Like a ton of people I know hate Christian Laettner for, once again, all the reasons that they talked about in this episode last night. And so today, what we're going to do on the Doug Stewart Show, man, well, you can guess it. We're going to talk about the top 5 athletes that I hate of all times. Yes, sir. So the top 5 athletes I hate of all time, and I guess you could give me your top 5 athletes you hate of all time, and I guess kind of give me a little bit of reasoning, a little bit of explanation on why you hate said athlete. And I'm looking at my list right now, man. I'll go ahead and tell you who's number 1 on my list, or number 5 on my list, actually. I'm going to go from 5th to 1st. No, I'm not going to tell you right now. I'm going to wait. I'm going to tell you who my number 5 athlete that I hate the most is in the next segment of today's show. All right, the number is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. All right. A lot of people, somehow this past weekend, me and Tree kind of were, I don't know what the right word is. We were kind of alarmed to the fact that we think that a lot of people don't realize that the Doug Stewart Show is live. Yes. Obviously, if you're listening right now, you know it's live because we're doing the show live. But a ton of people listen to the show as a podcast, and there might be some confusion as far as it being a live show or just a podcast. If you're listening, via podcast, you download the show or whatever right now, because this show is forever. The show comes on live Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Live. And if you have the app, or if you log on to the website or whatever, there's a little red button, word there, tag, that says live whenever the show goes live. So the show is live. I mean, we're like the real deal around here. All right, this is big time around here. This ain't no plaything what we're doing around here. This is the real deal Holyfield. So this is a live radio show Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And if you go to the website once again or the app, you'll see a little red button saying on air, live. I think it says live exactly. And you can tune into the Doug Stewart Show live, just like every other big-time radio show, radio station in the world. We are live. And I just wanted to clear that up because I think a lot of people, quite a few people, we've got over 100,000 listens, over 4,000 followers, and we kind of figured out this past weekend that quite a lot of people don't realize that the show comes on live. So you can listen to the show Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. live, and as soon as it's over, it downloads as a podcast. All right, so you have that option as well. But if you want to stay up to date on exactly what we're talking about on the Doug Stewart Show, the show comes on live from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. All right, 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. Obviously, the number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament is the Kentucky Wildcats, and the question is, is Kentucky going to go undefeated, win the national championship, and Coach Calipari have another ring for the mantle or for his finger or whatever? I mean, that's the question. That is the question. So we're going to talk a little bit about the tournament, the other 3 number 1 seeds. We'll talk a little bit about it, and obviously, there's been a lot going on in the world of sports, so I'm not ready to give you who I like to be in my Final Four even, or who I like to win it all. Give me a couple of days on that. Let me study some of these teams. Let me review some of these games a little bit more, get more depth into it, because let's be honest, a lot of teams like Gonzaga and some of the teams, outside of your part of the country, we aren't really paying attention. I mean, it's football season all year round, and we're talking free agency and NBA. We're in the thick of the NBA season, so I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to get more familiar with these teams, and then I'll give you a decision as far as my Final Four, let's say by Wednesday. But we can talk about some of the bigger names, some of the bigger teams that are in the bracket, that are in the NCAA tournament, and give you your thoughts. I don't know. Kentucky's going to be tough to beat. And I've said it many, many times, man. I don't know how anybody's going to beat them. I mean, anybody can be beat on any given day. We know that. They made a movie about that. But in this particular case, I'm not even sure if that's the case or if that's possible in Kentucky losing. They've already won the SEC tournament, and, they just look unbeatable. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I'll read your chat all day long. Hit me up in the Spreaker chat room. This is Sports Talk with Hot Sauce, Texas Pete Hot Sauce, the Doug Stewart Show. First of all, thank you for listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Now, if you've been listening for a while, you know that we've grown exponentially over the first couple of months, whether that's listens, whether that's followers. We're blowing up, and you can be a part of it. If you have a company out there and you like to promote on the Doug Stewart Show, we'd love to partner with you. Here's what you do. Email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Once again, that's doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Whether that's locally, regionally, or nationally, we can get the word out. What you're talking about is middle-aged dudes that love sports and love exciting sports talk. Once again, email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. That's doug@thedougstewartshow.com, and we will put you out there, all right? That's doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Let's do some business. Yes! The Doug Stewart Show. The place where the real players play.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service.
The Doug Stewart Show.
That's a brand name. Like Pepsi, that's a brand name. I stand behind it. I guarantee it.
The Doug Stewart Show. If you ain't stewing, what the hell are you doing? Yeah! This your boy Doug Stewart for my folks at System 5 Electronics. They're proud to offer my listeners here in the Metro Atlanta area all the way down to Macon, Georgia, the most affordable home security monitoring systems, featuring smart solutions for that busy lifestyle you lead for as low as $16.50 per month. Here's some of the reasons why you should choose System 5.
Hi, I'm Maceo Brown, President and CEO of System 5 Electronics. We take pride in making sure that security is the number one thing that we do. And thanks to you, the customer that has supported us, we have grown this company in Southwest Atlanta, where we're creating jobs and opportunities.
Not only is their monitoring station here in Atlanta, but they also install the most advanced, up-to-date alarm systems where you can access cameras, lights, door locks, thermostats, and other devices remotely with your smartphone. 24/7 technical support, plus the lowest service call fees in the business. And check this. You own the security alarm system once it's installed. And you get direct access to the owner if you ever got a problem, Mr. Maceo Brown. Click on the banner on the Doug Stewart Show website or app for more details, or give them a call at 404-756-0736. Again, that's 404-756-0736, or online at System5ElectronicsInc.com. That's System5ElectronicsInc.com.
Bad boy, baby.
Yeah! This is a Man Talk Monday, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Oh, boy. All right, now I said it in the first segment. I kind of teased it a little bit. Some of the things we're going to get into today on the Doug Stewart Show. Christian Laettner. I'm going to give you my top 5 guys that I hate in sports. I'll give you more explanation on how I get those names in a second. As well as we're going to have to talk a little bit about this Creflo Dollar thing, man. We're going to have to. I'm not going to do it right now, but stay tuned. We're going to get into it. And if you follow me on Facebook or you're one of my friends on Facebook, I posted something, before a round of golf that I played this past weekend, and talking about the story where Creflo Dollar, and you know the story. Creflo Dollar, a big minister here in the city of Atlanta. I guess he would be in that group they call mega preachers. And in effect, he asked his followers and his parishioners to send $300, 200,000 of his parishioners to send $300 to help them buy a $67 million jet. And I made my, not really my thoughts. I asked a question, and that's the way I want to pose this thing. I asked a question on Facebook, and I mean, it got a ton of conversation all weekend long. And it's still getting conversation, and people are very passionate about this subject with mega preachers and all of the things that go along with those big churches and mega preachers. So we'll get into the conversation a little bit later, but I want to touch upon, obviously, the sports from this past weekend and tell you who my top 5 most hated athletes of all times is on the Doug Stewart Show. The number is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. So last night, I Hate Christian Laettner, 30 for 30 series on ESPN. Coming in at number 5 on my top 5 athletes I hate of all time. Let me back up for a second. I'm glad I remembered to say this, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Technically, I don't hate anybody, you know. From a young age, I remember my parents and grandparents always saying to us that hate is too strong of a term. We're using the term hate because ESPN used the term hate last night, and I guess hate is more titillating. It'll catch your attention more. The younger kids, the youngins of today, they use the term hater, to a degree that's just ridiculous. I mean, that term hater has just been so overused over the last couple of years. So I just want to state for the record, I don't really hate anybody. I strongly dislike the guys that I'm going to talk about today. I do. I strongly dislike them for one reason or another. And one of these guys, I don't really have a legitimate reason why I hate him. I just hate him. Yes, I do. But looking at the names I've got, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, I have legitimate reasons in my mind why I really dislike every single one of my top 5 athletes I hate of all time. One of them, and it's funny, he's the number 1 guy on my list. The number 1 guy on my list, I have no legitimate reason why I hate this guy. It's just because. It is. And I'm going to keep it real with you. But the term hate is a little bit strong, in my opinion. So these are the top 5 guys that I just necessarily, I don't like them. I'm really not a fan of them. I used to say that about LeBron James when I guess technically I used to hate him as well. I'm just not a fan of LeBron. But I'm now a fan of LeBron. But that's how I would like to deem these guys on my list. So coming in at number 5 on my list is Brett Favre. Yes. And if you've listened to the 2 Live Stews and you've listened to the Doug Stewart Show over the last 10 years, just not a fan of Brett Favre. And the word that comes to mind when I think of Brett Favre, to me, is fake. Right, I think Brett Favre is fake. Brett Favre plays this old country boy, naive role about his persona, and everybody loves Brett Favre, and people ignore all of the bad things that Brett Favre has done off the field as well. You know, when you're talking about being hooked to drug, to pain pills or whatever, when you talk about the things that he's been caught up with as far as outside of his wife and his marriage, that's personal, that's fine. But everybody loves Brett Favre. He's like this holier-than-thou, pristine guy. Everybody loves Brett Favre. And they don't also talk about the fact that Brett Favre, just as much as Brett Favre would win you a football game, Brett Favre would lose you a damn football game. He would. I mean, if you ask a lot of these sports people, these so-called sports insiders, if you ask them about Brett Favre, they tell you Brett Favre is the greatest quarterback in the history of quarterbacks. Now, Brett Favre is probably, and I'll acknowledge this, the toughest quarterback that I've ever seen in my life. I will, based on the consecutive games played record that he amassed in his career in the NFL, starts for quarterbacks. Yeah, he's a tough SOB, country boy from Mississippi. He's a tough SOB. But as far as quarterbacks that I would take, Brett Favre probably wouldn't be in my top 10 if I had an option of quarterbacks that I would take to win a football game for me. Okay, he had a fantastic team, great players around him. In particular, you talk about Reggie White. But Brett Favre's got 1 Super Bowl ring. Aaron Rodgers has already got 1 Super Bowl ring. If I had my choice, if I were a Packers fan, I would take Aaron Rodgers right now if I had my option between quarterbacks in their prime, between Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. It wouldn't even be close. It wouldn't even be close. But you know what? A lot of people in the industry, they'll tell you Brett Favre's top 2 or 3 quarterbacks of all time. A lot of people will tell you Brett Favre's the best quarterback of all time. And you know what that is? The country boy in me says, that's hog fooey. Yes. So I just despise the admiration for Brett Favre, and this is nothing new to listeners of the Two Live Stews and the Doug Stewart Show. You know I've never liked the guy before. But the admiration for Brett Favre and the respect for Brett Favre, I think is too much. And that makes me not like him. And that's what puts him on my list of top 5 athletes I hate of all times. Yes, sir. Brett Favre comes in at number 5. I can't stand that dude. I mean, they'll talk about the cannon arm, and he does have a cannon arm, or he did have a cannon arm. Then they stop short of telling you about the gazillion interceptions he threw. And not just interceptions. Bad interceptions. Stupid-ass interceptions. Throwing in triple and quadruple coverage interceptions. Brett Favre was the best of that, man. The media, they won't tell you that, man. They'll just leave out that part of the story. He's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Brett Favre. And I just don't buy into that. 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. All right, so the number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament is the Kentucky Wildcats, undefeated right now. Wow. And I just can't see them losing, man. They just got too much talent. They just do, man. 34-0 right now, won the SEC, 18-0 in the conference, and you know about the players. You know about the Harrison boys, big-ass guards that have got great experience. There's some guys that actually came back for more than 1 year at Kentucky, and so these guys are fantastic, and then you know about the size with Anthony Towns and Cauley Stein, and then you know about Lee and Trey Lyles, and they got all these fantastic players that are going to play in the NBA. You know that they are. And then Devin Booker. I mean, just a motley crew of fantastic players on this Kentucky Wildcats roster. So they come in at the number 1 overall seed in the tournament. Number 2 in that Midwest bracket is Kansas. The number 1 seed in the West Conference is Wisconsin, who that's a team that a lot of people feel like has an opportunity to beat Kentucky if it ever came down to it. So they're the number 1 seed in the West, and then Arizona's the number 2 team, another team as well that has kind of been bantied out there as far as teams that could probably give Kentucky a battle. In the Eastern Division bracket, in the eastern side of the bracket, you got Villanova as the number 1 seed, the Wildcats, and number 2, UVA, the Cavaliers. And in the Southern bracket, you've got Duke, the number 1 team in that bracket is the Duke Blue Devils, and number 2 is Gonzaga. Okay, and Gonzaga is also another team. It seems like Wisconsin, just listening to these basketball experts, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Gonzaga are the teams that people feel may have an ability to score an upset against the Kentucky Wildcats. I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. They're playing fantastic, and a lot of people thought that they would have a letdown in the SEC tournament. They go ahead and handle their business and win that as well. Undefeated, and this will be the first team to go undefeated in college basketball since the 76 Indiana Hoosiers. I think they're going to do it, man. I don't see any reason why they aren't going to do it. They've got, I mean, just the athleticism alone at the center position, I think is too much. It's just too much. In the power forward position, when you talk about Cauley Stein and Towns, it's just too much. And they kind of make up for a lot of mistakes of this Kentucky team with their defense. They are. And their bench is probably a starting 5 of guys that could start for most other teams in college basketball, man. So, I mean, I'm not definitively saying Kentucky's going to win it right now, like I said in the first segment, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I'm going to wait till about Wednesday to tell you who I like to win it all. But we got to it's going to be tough, man. I mean, we just got to give credit where credit's due. It's going to be very tough, obviously, to 1 seed Kentucky from the unbeatens and to knock them off in this tournament to win it all this year. What are your thoughts? 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Hit me up in the chat room on Spreaker.com. Yes, sir. And be totally interactive. I'll give you number 4 on my list of guys I hate or really dislike in sports of all time. Coming up next. Don't go away. The Doug Stewart Show. What is 911 Tax Relief? It's a tax relief company that can help you reduce or remove your IRS or state tax debt. They'll help stop bank levies and wage garnishments by implementing offers in compromise or penalty abatements. 911 Tax Relief is a tax relief company, but they're different from the others. Their experts are licensed, enrolled tax agents, and they also have more than 12 years' experience helping people solve their tax problems. They're a tax relief company that understands how the IRS works, and they'll also put that knowledge to work for you, so they can get you the best possible settlement or solution to your tax problems. Highly rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they've helped thousands of people solve their tax problems. So, don't play around. Click on their link on my website and let 911 Tax Relief help you in your situation with Uncle Sam.
The Doug Stewart Show.
The place where the real players play.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service.
The Doug Stewart Show.
That's a brand name. Like Pepsi, that's a brand name. I stand behind it. I guarantee it.
The Doug Stewart Show.
If you ain't stewing, what the hell are you doing? Yeah! Fantasy sports fans are winning huge cash prizes every day at DraftKings.com. America's favorite place to play daily fantasy sports. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Just pick your sport and draft your team. It's like a new season every time you play, so you're never stuck with the same players. Last year, $300 million were won at DraftKings.com, and you could be next to win big. Go to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code STU to play for free. That's STU for free entry now at DraftKings.com. Also, if you use promo code STU, DraftKings will match your initial deposit up to $600. Deposit $600, play with $1,200. DraftKings.com, promo code STU. Yay! This is the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you for joining your boy. Man Talk Monday, March 16th, 2015. And want to get your thoughts on the NCAA tournament. March Madness is here, shouty. It is here. And also talking about everything that happened from this past weekend. We're going to talk some NFL here in a second, so stay tuned for that. We're also talking about the top 5 athletes that you hate of all time. I'm giving you my list of top 5 athletes that I hate of all time. And also last night, and that kind of ties into Christian Laettner last night on ESPN. I hate Christian Laettner. Some things that I kind of were reminded about and learned last night from this 30 for 30 on Christian Laettner, it really, rekindled my hate for Christian Laettner. It really did, because it brought back all of those memories. And, hell, you're talking early 90s? So you're talking 25 years ago. So a lot of this stuff that they brought up last night, man, is stuff that I had forgot about. I forgot all about the stomp when he stomped the Timberlake dude in the national championship game against Kentucky. I forgot all about that. And one thing that really jumped out at me in watching this last night was that Christian Laettner really brought a lot of this on himself. He did. Whether it's true or not, I know, studio audience, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Whether it's true or not, sometimes guys get reputations, some of which they don't deserve, okay? And a couple of names on my list as far as top 5 guys that I hate of all time in sports. Once again, some of them don't make any sense. They don't really have any real rationale, but that's just real talk. And a lot of times we can't give you reasons on why we don't like a guy and not. It's just something inherent. But Christian Laettner, if you look back at his attitude, talked a lot of trash, stomped on a guy's chest, just his whole personality was kind of, he was an a-hole. He was. And you know what? I think that kind of gave him his edge. Fantastic player. A lot of people will make the argument, okay, that Christian Laettner might be the most or the best player in college basketball history. I'm not going to go that far, and you could talk about Bill Walton and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, anybody on those teams for UCLA, just to think of off the top of my head that you can make an argument for having the best college basketball career of all time. But Christian Laettner's right up there, man. 4 Final Fours, 2 national championships, still leads Duke in scoring, games played, all of these crazy stats. So he was a fantastic basketball player, man, but don't get it twisted. A lot about Christian Laettner was very valid. A lot of the hate towards Christian Laettner, I think, was very valid, and you kind of saw that last night, okay? And his own teammates didn't like him lots of times. They didn't like the dude because of his personality. He was kind of a chippy guy, had an edge. He was actually like a bully that they talked about last night as far as his teammates on his team bullied Bobby Hurley a lot when they were teammates at Duke. And Grant Hill talked about him. And, Brian Davis talked about him as well as this guy really being a bully and an a-hole, not just as a player towards other teams, but to his own damn teammates. So I think it's very valid at Christian Laettner and the reputation and the hate and the disgust for the guy, man. He did it to himself. He did. He did. So we're talking about today my top 5 athletes of all times that I didn't hate. And Christian Laettner is on my list. I can give you that little tease as well. He's definitely on my list, but he's a little bit higher up. But coming in at number 4 on my list of guys, athletes that I don't like, that I've never liked or disliked, because hate is such a strong term. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I really, really dislike and have disdain towards Steve Nash. Yes, I do. And the word that comes to my mind for Steve Nash is personal. The word that comes to mind to why I'm giving one-word answers on why I dislike these guys that I'm naming on my top 5 list of athletes that I hate of all time. And so the word for Brett Favre was fake. The word for Steve Nash is personal. Okay, it's personal with Steve Nash because I feel like Steve Nash was the overhyped, and that's another word that could be used for him as well. He was one of the more overhyped players that I can think of in sports history. Great player, but not that great of a player to win 2 NBA MVPs. Not only that, he stole one of the MVPs at least from another player that I absolutely love and did a lot for my team in Kobe Bryant. And then on top of that, my Lakers added to the hate or my disdain for Steve Nash by giving him a big-ass contract, and I think the guys played all of 3 games in like 3 years for the Lakers. So, yeah, not a fan of Steve Nash. Terribly, terribly overhyped. And I actually one time, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, he's a great player, but there's a lot of great players. He's not an all-time player. He's not an all-time, like, top 10, top 20 player the way a lot of people will lead you to believe that he is. He's just not. And the numbers bear it out. And I pulled up all these stats at one time, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I pulled up all these stats one time when me and my brother had this debate about Steve Nash. He had won another NBA MVP. And I'm like, man, this is just garbage. And I went back and compared Steve Nash to multiple MVP winners in the NBA. And the comparison was so bad in favor of Steve Nash in comparison to other guys that had won multiple MVPs in the NBA. It was obvious. It was obvious. He wasn't even in the same class as these guys. And I'm going to see if I got it like in my records or whatever, and I may throw a couple of those stats at you and some of those statistics that kind of verified what I was saying. But just tremendously overhyped. Once again, and I got a real problem with that. Really the same issue I got with Brett Favre as well. Just tremendously overhyped. But because I see things different and because I'm not your normal media, it seems like I'm the singled out bad guy. No, I'm the guy that got a perspective, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, where I'm going to keep it real, period. And I'm going to call a spade a spade. And when I tell you Brett Favre and Steve Nash, number 4 on my list, are tremendously overhyped, you better take it to the bank, Jack. Tremendously overhyped. Let's see if I can find this stuff here, man. Steve Nash. Let me see. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you so much for joining your boy. I really do appreciate it. And this is a Man Talk Monday. Oh, yeah. Here we go right here. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Tim Duncan, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Moses Malone, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Will Chamberlain, Bill Russell are the only consecutive MVP winners. I just want to ask you this question. Does Steve Nash belong in the conversation with those guys? Did you hear what I just said? There's only been, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's only been 9 consecutive or guys that have won multiple MVPs in the NBA. Only 9. Tim Duncan, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Moses Malone, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Chamberlain, and Bill Russell. Those are the only guys in the NBA that have won consecutive MVPs. And you're putting Steve Nash in that group? Are you kidding me? Now, out of all those names, the only one that's not truly, like all-time iconic, he's iconic, but not like in the group. He's kind of like the lesser of the group, and that's Moses Malone, but not by a lot, okay? But all of those other guys that I named are like iconic top 10, top 15 NBA players of all times, okay? Tim Duncan, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Will Chamberlain, and Bill Russell. And you're putting Steve Nash in that group? Come on, man. I can talk about this all day, but I'm not. So, yeah, Steve Nash makes my list of top 5 guys that I really don't like of all time in the NBA. Yeah, 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. You can also email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com. Yeah. Ooh, I got some great stuff here. Looking at my little notes. It's crazy I still have this saved in my little notes from all of these years, because this argument was probably like 5 or 6 years ago. The last time Steve Nash won his MVP. Like, get out of here with that BS. In 2005, Nash's first MVP, Shaq came in second, losing by 3 votes. Shaq had 3 rings and had been to 4 finals, and he doesn't have back-to-back MVPs. Think about that. Another part of this whole thing about Steve Nash that I had a problem with is all of those guys that I mentioned before, all of them are like, have won an NBA championship. I'm pretty sure every single one of them had. Steve Nash is the only one of those multiple MVP winners that doesn't have a ring. The only one. Once again, talking about him being put in that elite group. It's hogwash. That's absolute hogwash. When we get back from the break, man, I'm going to read a lot of your chat, as well as we're going to talk a little bit about free agency in the NFL and this Dez Bryant story, man, going off on the Cowboys, kind of, sort of, about what happened to DeMarco Murray. And also the Cowboys signed somebody else, and I kind of like it. So we'll get into that. Grab calls if we have any, read chat, and do what we do. This is the Doug Stewart Show. You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right. I said billions with a B, okay? A B. Well, just do it, and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one console, a Facebook shopping application, a mobilized, optimized website, and much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on their banner link on thedugstewartshow.com or the app link for more details. First of all, thank you for listening to The Doug Stewart Show. Now, if you've been listening for a while, you know that we've grown exponentially over the first couple of months. Whether that's listens, whether that's followers, we're blowing up, and you can be a part of it. If you have a company out there and you like to promote on The Doug Stewart Show, we'd love to partner with you. Here's what you do. Email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Once again, that's doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Whether that's locally, regionally, or nationally, we can get the word out. What you're talking about is middle-aged dudes that love sports and love exciting sports talk. Once again, email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. That's doug@thedougstewartshow.com, and we will put you out there. All right? That's doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Let's do some business. Yes! Fantasy sports fans are winning huge cash prizes every day at DraftKings.com. America's favorite place to play daily fantasy sports. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Just pick your sport and draft your team. It's like a new season every time you play, so you're never stuck with the same players. Last year, $300 million were won at DraftKings.com, and you could be next to win big. Go to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code STU to play for free. That's STU for free entry now at DraftKings.com. Also, if you use promo code STU, DraftKings will match your initial deposit up to $600. Deposit $600, play with $1,200. DraftKings.com, promo code STU.
Regulators. We regulate any stealing of his property. We're damn good, too. But you can't be any geek off the street. Gotta be handy with the stealing.
Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show.
Mount up.
Thank you for joining your boy. The number is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. This segment is brought to you by System 5 Electronics. They're proud to offer my listeners in the Atlanta area the most affordable home security monitoring systems featuring smart solutions for your busy lifestyle for as little as $16.50 per month. That's right. They've been around for over 25 years. If you've ever got an issue with your security alarm system, ask to speak to the owner, Mr. Maceo Brown, and tell him that the Doug Stewart Show sent you. So check them out online at System5electronicsinc.com. That's the number 5. System5electronicsinc.com. Also, make sure you get set up for DraftKings. That's right. Baseball season is right around the corner, and fantasy baseball and daily fantasy baseball is real fun. So go to DraftKings.com, create you an account, and in the section where you put in the promo code, put in promo code STEW, S-T-E-W, my nickname. And then any amount of money that you put in up to $600, that's right, me, Doug Stewart, and DraftKings are going to match it. So anything up to $600, we're going to match it. So you put in $600, you'll be playing with $1,200. But you got to use the promo code STEW, all right? 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Talking about the top 5 athletes that I hate of all time. Number 5 on my list. And let me back up once again. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I actually really don't hate these guys, but I had to come up with a list so I could play the game. I mean, it's just as simple as that. I really dislike these guys. But I've never said, man, I hate so-and-so. One of these guys, I did actually use the term hate. He's the number one guy. I hate this guy, and it's funny because the number one guy on my list, I really don't have a legitimate reason why I don't like him. See, I think I got legitimate reasons for why I don't like these other guys. Brett Favre, I really think that Brett Favre was fake. I thought Steve Nash was the issue I got with Steve Nash is personal. And these other 3 guys, other 2 guys, 3 and 2, it's a reason I could throw out there. But number 1 on my list, I really don't have a legitimate reason. I just really hated this guy so much back in the day. And I'll tell you about it later on my list as far as top 5 athletes I hate of all time. Hey, happy birthday. You remember we were going to do birthdays and we were going to do happy birthdays? Happy birthday to Blake Griffin, 26 years old today. He's back from injury. Tim Hardaway Jr. is 23 years old today. Shouts out to him. The great Flavor Flav is 56 years old today. Damn. Flav almost 60? Whoa, wait a minute. Tree, jump on the mic here for a second. You're listening to the Doug Stewart Show.
Yes, sir.
Flavor Flav is almost 60 years old?
I mean, doesn't he look like it? Like a... I'm not going to say it.
Wait a minute. I actually think that Flavor Flav looks much younger than 60 years old. Like I'm more shocked that Terrence Howard is only 46 years old than I am that Flavor Flav is 56 years old. Maybe it has something to do with he kind of acts young, he dresses young, he still got that dumbass clock on. I don't know what it is, but I am shocked to find out that Flavor Flav is closer to 60 than he is 50.
They say whatever's inside of you comes out, so he clearly, I mean, you're right. He's very youthful in every aspect of the way.
Yeah, like a damn kid. But wow, happy birthday to Flavor Flav. All right, who else we got here? Eric Estrada. Whoa, wait a minute. And I'm sorry, I didn't look at these earlier. Tree, jump back in the mic in a second.
I did that for you.
Eric Estrada, a.k.a. Punch, from Chips, is 66 years old?
I knew you watched Chips, didn't you?
Hell yeah, I watched Chips. What little kid in America didn't watch Chips when Chips was on? And he's 66. Good Lord. Oh my gosh. And this right here really, really throws in the face your own mortality. When Punch, one of the coolest Hawaiian dudes in the history of Hawaiian dudes, or was he Puerto Rican?
I'll verify that. I don't think he was Hawaiian.
Or Mexican, maybe.
Like
okay,
Hispanic.
it was based, and I'm sorry, and I'm not really trying to be hurtful in me trying to guess his ethnicity. But I'm guessing the show was based in California, big Mexican population in California, so I'm going to guess maybe he's Mexican. And can you find out for
Mexican. Me? And his last name is Estrada. That's definitely Hispanic.
Hispanic. I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend
you say Orientals too, don't you?
No, I don't. So Punch is 66 years old? Which one is more astounding to me? And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, and to the listeners in the chat room. That Flavor Flav is 56. A guy that we tie and associate with hip-hop, which is a young genre industry. Or Punch, a.k.a. Eric Estrada, from Chips, is 66. Which one is more shocking? That's crazy. And Victor Garber is 66. He's the guy that plays Simon Stern on Power. Yeah. And remember, he's also the guy as Jennifer Garner's dad on the ABC series Alias. So happy birthday to all of those guys. If you got a birthday today, shoot it to me. I'll give you some love on worldwide radio. I'll give you some love. If your birthday is coming up or whatever, shoot it to me in the chat room or email me or whatever on the DougStewartShow.com. That's one of those radio things you got to do to show love to your listeners is give them birthday shout-outs, and I got no problem with doing that at all. Yeah, this is the Doug Stewart Show. Let me read some chat here for the first time in the day, and I appreciate all of the chat. That's what makes this show totally interactive. BPA to the Dallas Cowboys for letting Murray go for McFadden. Yeah, if you haven't heard, if you've been under a rock, man, DeMarco Murray has signed with the Philadelphia Eagles, and it's really a bad look because it kind of looks like they just used and abused the dude and just kicked him out and threw him out with the garbage. That's the way it looks. That's the appearance. Whether that's true or not, it is. The guy had an all-time record in carries for a single season for the Dallas Cowboys, touched the ball over 400 times, and had the best statistical year a running back has ever had. Now, you're talking about the same team that had Emmitt Smith. And to not find a way to sign him back to the team, it just looks bad. I mean, it does. There's no other way to look at it. It looks very bad. And then they bring in Darren McFadden, who's basically, I almost wanted to call him a poor man's DeMarco Murray. But let me back up for this for a second and get my thoughts together on what I want to say. he's a poor man's DeMarco Murray in the fact that he's never had a year like DeMarco Murray had last year. But don't get it twisted, Dallas Cowboy fans. When healthy, okay, I got some good news for you. When healthy, Darren McFadden is probably better than DeMarco Murray, in my opinion. And a guy that's a connoisseur of running backs. The problem is he's never healthy, okay? He's never healthy. And he's just like DeMarco Murray in that as well, as both of these guys really never, have been able to stay healthy and stay on the field for their teams. Now, DeMarco Murray did it last year, ironically the year that he was going to be up for a new deal. But you know these guys. You know football. Both of these guys have been nicked up their entire NFL careers. But when healthy, and all things considered, okay, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, I think Darren McFadden's a better running back. As a matter of fact, I don't even think it's close. So if he's healthy, I expect him to do. Bottom line is this. If Darren McFadden is healthy every game next year and plays 16 games the same way that DeMarco Murray did this past year with that offensive line that the Dallas Cowboys have, I think he'll put up better numbers. I'll put that out there right now. I think he'll put up even better numbers than DeMarco Murray did last year. We'll see. But it's actually a good signing if he can stay healthy. And it's actually a bad look in not getting back DeMarco Murray. That's just a horrible look by the Dallas Cowboys. And Dez Bryant and Michael Irvin have come on record and said that they don't agree with it. And it just does. It sends a bad message in the locker room. I mean, the guy gave, blood, sweat, and tears last year in talking about DeMarco Murray. To be shown the door in effect, not be re-signed, is just a bad look. I mean, if he does what he did last year, what does that mean for the second and third team guy on the team? You're totally expendable. And they don't give a ish about you, which is something I've said for a long, long time. But it's just a bad, bad look if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, man. And a bad look in particular for the rest of the team. From Ronald Cameron, my hate for Brett Favre comes from his days as a Green Bay Packer. When he played for my Vikings, I seriously questioned my loyalty to my team because I despise him that much. Harvey Scott, Doug, nobody's beating Kentucky. I expect them to win in style no matter who they play. They are too deep and head and shoulders above anyone else in college basketball. If them boys lose it, I know the fix in. Miss Mocabella, on Creflo Dollar, that name fits him to a T, asking his parishioners to help him get a jet. All I can say is when Tommy used to say to Cole, you stupid, using the name of the Lord to get what you want. King Blaine. Number 5, Hated Guys. Buster Douglas. Number 4, Bill Laimbeer. Number 3, Karl Malone. Number 2, Bobby Hurley. Number 1, Christian Laettner. Redland Kirk. Creflo Dollar is like Clay Davis from The Wire. I'll take any MF for his money if he's giving it away. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, in depth. Stagger Lee, I thought that the pastors got new Cadillacs after the anniversary. My whole life has been chicken, collard greens, dressing, mac and cheese, and a Cadillac to show your preacher love. And I agree with that. Stagger Lee. Creflo Dollar is asking for $65 million for an airplane. This fool is trying to get his wings early. He better wait like the rest of the congregation. Nicole Miller Johnson, Reverend Miller is so underpaid. Lord knows. Cut a check for Jesus. Hashtag cut a check for Jesus. You stupid. From Scotty, Creflo is a crook. Eddie Long like the young boys. And Mace left his church to go back to rap life. Are there any real preachers? All right, I'm reading emails right now and texts, okay? This isn't necessarily the opinions of Doug Stewart. We're going to talk about it a little bit later. I'm going to give you my thoughts on this entire story that's been the biggest trending story this past weekend. William Mack, Kobe's at the top of my list, but I respect the hell out of his game and what he's done for the game. That's no problem. If you don't like Kobe, that's what we're talking about. Today is your day to talk about why you don't like a particular guy or whatever in sports, all tied into the Christian Laettner conversation. From Detroit, Matt. Doug, the sun is shining in the D today. I hate Scottie Pippen. Yeah, it's understandable from anybody that follows Detroit basketball to hate Scottie Pippen. For Ronald Cameron, Reggie Miller is on my list because I was a fan of those 90s Knicks teams, and he would always draw fouls by kicking his legs and flopping. Yeah, I don't like the floppers either. From KC, number 5, Lance Armstrong. Number 4, Michael Irvin. Number 3, Keyshawn Johnson. Number 2, composite character, all FSU kickers. And number 1, Tim Tebow. Yeah, he hates all of those guys. Yeah. All right, when we get back from the break, man, we'll continue talking about these sports. I'm going to read even more of your chat, man, because we got a lot of great chat today. So I'll jump into that. I'll also give you the number 3 guy on my list of hated athletes of all times. We're going to read some chat, man. I thank y'all for the chat so much. I really do. So more chat coming up. Anything you want to talk about from the world of sports, your ballers, your busters, Man Talk Monday. Don't go away. This is The Doug Stewart Show. System 5 Electronics is proud to offer my listeners in the Atlanta area the most affordable home security monitoring systems, featuring smart solutions for your busy lifestyle for as low as $16.50 per month. Here's just a few reasons to choose System 5. Not only is their monitoring station located here in Atlanta, but they also install the most advanced, up-to-date alarm systems where you can access cameras, lights, door locks, thermostats, and other devices remotely with your smartphone. 24/7 technical support, plus the lowest service call fees in the business. And check this, you own your security alarm system once it's installed. Not only have they been around for almost 25 years, but their customer service is excellent. And you get direct access to the owner, Mr. Maceo Brown, to resolve any issues with your alarm system. Click on the banner on the Doug Stewart Show website or app for more details, or give them a call at 404-756-0736. Again, that's 404-756-0736. And make sure and tell them the Doug Stewart Show sent you. Yes! Fantasy sports fans are winning huge cash prizes every day at DraftKings.com. America's favorite place to play daily fantasy sports. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Just pick your sport and draft your team. It's like a new season every time you play, so you're never stuck with the same players. Last year, $300 million were won at DraftKings.com, and you could be next to win big. Go to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code STU to play for free. That's STU for free entry now at DraftKings.com. Also, if you use promo code STU, DraftKings will match your initial deposit up to $600. Deposit $600, play with $1,200. DraftKings.com, promo code STU. This is your folk, Doug Stewart. Want to protect you and your family from life's unexpected mishaps? Then join 7. Join 7 is a prepaid legal company under the umbrella of the Protection Group. Join 7 is the only group benefit or motor club in the U.S. that offers auto reimbursement coverage, key replacement coverage, roadside assistance, gives you a current Medi-File, prescription savings, and fully encompassed prepaid legal benefits that include identity theft. They got your back. The average combined cost to purchase these benefits individually is over $850 a year. Join today and take advantage of all 7 for $17 a month. They've been around for over 20 years, so check them out by clicking on the banner link on my page, thedugstewartshow.com, or the app. Just go ahead and join 7. Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. And some Man Talk Monday. Who do you like in the NCAA tournament? I'm getting early predictions. Also talking about the Dallas Cowboys with Jerry Jones pulled this past weekend. We'll talk a little NBA at some point today. Anthony Davis went off last night. Another Anthony Grant has shown the door. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And also, man, I'm telling you right now, in the next segment, I'm going to give you your BPA winner, and I didn't even talk about that today. We didn't do it Friday. So coming back in the next segment, I'm going to give you your BP winner from last week. Okay, so stay tuned for that. As well as at some point, we're going to get into this conversation about this story with Creflo Dollar, mega preacher here in Atlanta. And I'm sure, and I see a lot of people in the chat room are talking about, have strong opinions on that, which I do as well. They're strong, but I'll preface it, when I start talking about it. in the next segment, I believe. You're listening to The Doug Stewart Show. The number is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. The chat room is on fire right now. I'm going to read more of that chat here in a second. The chat is where you can be totally interactive with The Doug Stewart Show. Totally interactive. And I'll read your chat, show you some love. Y'all kind of like my co-host on The Doug Stewart Show. So a lot of chat about top 5 guys you don't like in sports of all time. My list, number 5 is Brett Favre. I think he's fake. Number 4 is Steve Nash. It's personal with him. And number 3 on my list is Christian Laettner. Yes, it is. And they summed it up so perfectly last night with all the reasons that they gave about Christian Laettner on why people hated him. And they showed some of the instances where he was an a-hole and proved to be an a-hole. And so Christian Laettner, man, I really, really dislike that Duke team. And I can't remember exactly the chronological order a lot of times of who came first or whatever. Like, I can't remember if it was Ala Abdenabi or or Danny Ferry or whoever. And last night they kind of pulled it all in and refreshed my memory. I talked about this earlier. And so Ferry came before Laettner. And Laettner's really the guy that I think really turned it to we don't like Duke basketball, period. You know, there might have been some animosity and it is to a degree, you know, the way that the young kids use it today as far as being a hater. Like, you know, Duke is this prestigious school, kind of like an Ivy League school in the South and the ACC, much different. They got a different brand than everybody else in the conference. They just do. Like, Duke has this elitist brand, and, you know, when you think of elitist brand, it's almost like in your mind you're saying Duke is like Harvard or Yale, you know. And Harvard and Yale aren't supposed to beat the Fab Five. Or Harvard and Yale aren't supposed to beat the UNLV Running Rebels or the Georgetown Hoyas or whatever. You know, that's not designated for, you know, Harvard and Yale. Harvard and Yale. That's not what they do. What they do is they score, 2,800 on their SAT. And they run Fortune 500 companies, leave the basketball to Michigan and to UNLV. And Duke, they just bucked that trend, man. So I think there's a little bit of animosity inside for that program because of that. They even talked about the fact that one of the reasons, they had them listed, the 5 reasons why we hate Christian Laettner or why America hates Christian Laettner. One of the reasons that they gave was obvious as well, and I'm shocked that they even did it, and they said it, was because he's white. Yeah, and whether it's right or wrong, once again, whether it's right or wrong, I think people felt some type of way about Christian Laettner because this is a sport that generally the best players come from the inner city or the playground, and Christian Laettner is not a guy that we found out last night that had a silver spoon in his mouth. Quite the contrary, actually came from humble beginnings. But we think of like and one guys. You know, we think of Fab Five, we think of Larry Johnson. Let's just keep it real. We think of like hood dudes. Okay, that are the best basketball players in the country. Guys that come from New York City, guys that come from Brooklyn, guys that come from Jersey or whatever, dudes that come from the city, from Atlanta or whatever. A lot of those guys, a lot of times, they don't look like Christian Laettner. So I don't know if that's justified or not, but I do think that plays into the psyche and into the minds of college basketball fans and did at that time about Christian Laettner. Let's just keep it real. And ESPN kept it real last night, so I definitely respect that. There's so many reasons that they brought to the forefront last night of why people dislike Christian Laettner, and all of them were spot on. They were all spot on. And so great episode last night. So he comes in on my list at number 3. And the reason that I don't like Christian Laettner is because I guess I probably, to a degree, was just a hater. And I gave reasons of why I didn't like Steve Nash and Brett Favre. There's really no real reason. I thought about it, and my number 1 guy is the same way as well. Christian Laettner was a guy that I just was a hater of. There's no other way to say it. I mean, there's just not. There's just not. And you're listening to The Doug Stewart Show. Let me read more of this chat from Vince Wright. I love Christian Laettner, Ball Award, top 6 college player of all time. Miss Mocha Bella. I love everybody, but I have to put Charles Barkley on the list. Charles Barkley talks ish and ain't worth nothing. Yeah, definitely agree with you on Charles Barkley. Not a fan of Charles Barkley. I don't have him on my list, and I thought about putting Barkley on my list, but these other guys I have more disdain for Charles than I do for Charles Barkley. And really, when I thought about it, man, and thinking about Charles Barkley and his persona over the last couple of years, and this year in particular, and his social and political views, it's not so much that I hate Charles Barkley. It's just I feel sorry for Charles Barkley, man. I just feel sorry for Charles Barkley that his views are the way that they are, and that's his personal business. I'm not a fan of dude anymore, and I've been on record as saying that over the last couple of months doing this show, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I just think Charles Barkley is he's just naive, and I think he's ignorant. And I did say ignorant. I didn't say ignorant. He's ignorant, okay, and some of the stuff that he said and some of his political views and his commentary on life, and it's really just come to fruition really over the last year or so, where I was kind of on the edge on Barkley, but this past year, and it's well chronicled some of the things that he said, is I just can't be down with dude anymore. It's as simple as that. Big fan, really thought, and actually still respect the fact that he's very honest and gives you his real opinions. I don't have a problem with that, giving you an opinion, but we definitely disagree as far as our thoughts and views on life in general, especially in this country. You're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. From corporate brother Steve Nash, mophead, overrated Canadian, Pistol Pete wannabe, time-wasting son of a itch. That's very harsh. From Stagger Lee, Doug is hating on Steve Nash. Chris Carter better be on the list. William Wharton, who I hate. Kobe Bryant, Christian Laettner, Eli Manning, Danny Ainge, and Chris Collinsworth. Ooh, you got a nice list, sir. Once again, the people that you may hate, they may not be people that I hate. They may not be. William Wharton, who I hate. Kobe Bryant. All right, a lot of people hate Kobe Bryant. Christian Laettner, number 2. Eli Manning, number 3. Why you hate Eli Manning? Eli Manning, there's nothing for Eli to hate because Eli don't have a personality. Number 4, Danny Ainge. Number 5, Chris Collinsworth. Why do you hate Chris Collinsworth? Chris Collinsworth never really did anything to me, or never even did anything that I thought that I don't dislike this dude. Give me a little bit more, the backstory on your hate for Chris Collinsworth, my man William Wharton. 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. All right, when we get back from the break, I'm going to give you your BPA winner from last week, as well as let's talk a little bit about this Creflo Dollar thing, man. Let me give you my thoughts on that. This is the show for the people. The Doug Stewart Show. Don't go away. First of all, thank you for listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Now, if you've been listening for a while, you know that we've grown exponentially over the first couple of months. Whether that's listens, whether that's followers, we're blowing up, and you can be a part of it. If you have a company out there and you like to promote on the Doug Stewart Show, we'd love to partner with you. Here's what you do. Email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Once again, that's doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Whether that's locally, regionally, or nationally, we can get the word out. What you're talking about is middle-aged dudes that love sports and love exciting sports talk. Once again, email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. That's doug@thedougstewartshow.com, and we will put you out there. All right? That's doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Let's do some business. Yes!
The Doug Stewart Show.
The place where the real players play.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service.
The Doug Stewart Show.
That's a brand name. Like Pepsi, that's a brand name. I stand behind it. I guarantee it.
The Doug Stewart Show.
If you ain't stewing, what the hell are you doing? Yeah! This your boy Doug Stewart for my folks at System 5 Electronics. They're proud to offer my listeners here in the metro Atlanta area, all the way down to Macon, Georgia, the most affordable home security monitoring systems, featuring smart solutions for that busy lifestyle you lead for as low as $16.50 per month. Here's some of the reasons why you should choose System 5.
Hi, I'm Maceo Brown, President and CEO of System 5 Electronics. We take pride in making sure that security is the number one thing that we do. And thanks to you, the customer that has supported us, we have grown this company in Southwest Atlanta, where we're creating jobs and opportunities.
Not only is their monitoring station here in Atlanta, but they also install the most advanced, up-to-date alarm systems where you can access cameras, lights, door locks, thermostats, and other devices remotely with your smartphone. 24/7 technical support, plus the lowest service call fees in the business. And check this. You own the security alarm system once it's installed. And you get direct access to the owner if you ever got a problem, Mr. Maceo Brown. Click on the banner on the Doug Stewart Show website or app for more details, or give them a call at 404-756-0736. Again, that's 404-756-0736, or online at System5electronicsinc.com. That's System5electronicsinc.com. Penis tastes better boiled.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to begin our study of the male erection. We are adults. Now, I want everybody together to go ahead and say, penis, penis, penis.
Penis tastes better. Penis tastes better. Penis tastes better boiled.
Come on, y'all, say it.
No, man. P-nuts. I'm trying to say it as slow as I can. P-nuts. P-E-A-N-U-T-S. P-nuts. Y'all know what the hell I was saying.
Come on, y'all, say it.
And it's that time of the week. The BP Award. The Boyle Peanuts Award. Didn't do it this past Friday. Oh, yeah, you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show on the Stewart Media Network. Thank you so much for joining your boy. Wasn't here this past Friday, so wasn't able to do it then. But your BP Award nominees from this past week is the Carolina Tar Heels for the epic fail. And we were watching this game this past weekend in the championship game. Okay, the Carolina Tar Heels, who, my gosh, Dean Smith is turning over in his grave right now. Carolina and what the job Roy Williams has been doing. So the Carolina Tar Heels have been elected the SAE frat for the racist song on the bus, this past week. That was just horrible. We didn't even really get into that. I can tell you right now, they're not going to win. The SAE is not going to win. You know why? Because that really didn't shock me at all. I mean, it's crazy that it was caught on tape, on videotape. That's part of the story that I haven't heard. Who did that? Like, which one of those guys stuck a knife in their back? Which one of their frat brothers stuck a knife in their back and aired that video? But they're not going to win. Chris Brown for the baby mama drama going on with him. A lot of people nominated him. He's not a winner either. Pharrell, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, Pharrell was nominated for a BP award for trying to steal from Marvin Gaye as if, his family wouldn't say anything. And, man, somebody hit me this past weekend, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, on Facebook, and they made mention of, there's another lawsuit that the Gaye family is supposedly going to go after Pharrell about another song. And I heard that song, and I'm sorry I don't have this in front of me right now. I'll try to research and find it. But I heard that song, and I'm like, this ain't as bad as the first one. The first one was just, it was terribly bad. Like, you knew good and well they stole the damn song. The second one that they've been talking about in the media, questionable. But there's actually a third one that they're saying down the road they're going to come after Pharrell about as far as stealing from Marvin Gaye that sounds exactly like a Robin Thicke song. And I'm sorry I didn't write it down at the time when I saw the story, but I'll try to research that and bring that up for you. But, yeah, it seems like Pharrell stole a lot of stuff from Marvin Gaye, man. And the Gaye family ain't going to take it. They're not going to take it lying down. But he's not going to win this week as well. So for the second time in a row, winning the BP award is none other than Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly has won his second consecutive BP award for dumbass decisions as far as getting rid of their best players for the Philadelphia Eagles. And, you know, it's well chronicled. In 1 week's time or a couple of weeks' times, they've let their best players either walk or they've traded them. And you're talking about Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, Trent Coles, and LaShawn McCoy. So he gets the BP award again. Two-time winner for Chip Kelly. Yeah. 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. If you're a new listener to the Doug Stewart Show, it's the Boyle Peanuts Award. It's a long story. Go back and ask people in the chat room about it. They'll fill you in on exactly what the BP award is. All right, 404-382-0338. We're also talking about the top 5 guys in sports that I hate, all tied into Christian Laettner last night. And I hate Christian Laettner. Number 5 for me was Brett Favre. Number 4, Steve Nash. Number 3 is Christian Laettner. And coming in at number 2 is Larry Bird. Oh, man. The hick from French Lick. Now, the thing about Larry Bird that's different between all of these other guys is Larry Bird is a true baller. And I've expressed that fact many, many times. I even talked about it. I don't know, Larry Bird came up a couple of weeks ago for something. I think we were talking about the best small forwards of all times. Larry Bird is a fantastic player, nothing but respect for him, a true killer on the basketball court, or was on the basketball court. I'm going back to and trying to remember my disdain and my hate for a guy. And Larry Bird was very high on my list. Now, the reason I hated Larry Bird, I guess, is really tied into the fact that back when I was growing up and most people listening to this show to demo a guy that is listening to this show, Larry Bird played for the Boston Celtics. And it was Larry Bird or it was Dr. J, Julius Erving. And every Sunday on CBS, it seemed like every Sunday it was the Boston Celtics versus the Philadelphia 76ers. And every little kid in America loved Dr. J. I've talked about this many, many times before. And it seems like Larry Bird was kind of branded as the anti-Dr. J. You know, the hick from French Lick, white guy, shoot jumpers, Dr. J, brother, big-ass afro, dunk on you. They were totally a different contrast of each other. They were. And so it was almost like you got one side, you pick one side or the other. Either you were a Boston fan or a Larry Bird fan or you were a Dr. J fan. It was simple as that. And so anybody that was the antagonist or the opposite or, I don't know, in my mind, the villain to Dr. J was just awful. And Larry Bird was that guy. He was that guy. Hated Larry Bird so much because he used to get at the 76ers. And not that I was a 76er fan, but I was a Dr. J fan. I mean, we love certain athletes. And Dr. J, he got the coolest name in the history of sports. And he dunked, and he was cool as hell. And then you got the hick from French Lick killing him. And Larry Bird used to talk smack. And it was just bad, man. And a lot of kids that I grew up with have the same opinion and the same thoughts about Larry Bird, man. Hated Larry Bird, man. Respected him once again. And it's crazy because when throwback jerseys were in style like 10 years ago, I got a Larry Bird jersey, man, and it was one of my favorite ones ever because he was a stone cold killer. And it's ironic because at the time when he was playing, I hated him so much. But after he retired, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, you kind of look back at players and you have a healthy respect for them. And Larry Bird, throwback jersey, I thought it was the coolest thing ever, man. Much respect to the dude. But I did hate Larry Bird. I did. There's no doubt about that. 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. Let me grab another call. Well, let me grab a call. Caller, thanks for calling the Doug Stewart Show. What's your name? Where you calling from? What you want to talk about?
Doug Stewart, what's happening?
T from Huntsville. What up, baby?
And enjoying the show as always, man. Just wanted to get in on that top 5 athletes I quote-unquote dislike.
Okay, let me hear T from Huntsville. Let me hear his top 5 athletes of all times you didn't hate in honor of Christian Laettner.
Yeah, not old Christian. Didn't care for him, but he didn't make my list. Honorable mention, though. Oh, yeah, quick shout-out. Let me give a buster to Creflo Dollar. Now, on with my list. Number 5, give me Andrew Bogut, and I'm going to tell you why. For me, it's the same thing really with a tall center that has that look about his skin. They always get overhyped, come to the league and do nothing. But he came into the league and made a general statement about all the black players in the league, saying they were just guys that had babies and didn't marry their women, didn't take care of them.
I remember when he said that. Man. That was bad.
Yeah, and of course the story died, and they didn't follow him, and they don't bring it up every time they talk about him because, hell, talking about those cats, who cares about that? It's okay to do that. Number 4 for me is Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino broke the Guinness World Record for making a baby up under a table in a restaurant. I think, 30 seconds? 35, 38? Something like that. And then he allegedly told the woman, you will have this abortion or you will wear cement shoes. She had the abortion, tried to file charges. Not only did he not get arrested, they arrested her ass. Mob boss, sir.
Yeah.
That mob boss, straight mob boss action. Number 3, you stole my thunder, Larry Bird. My reasoning is he was a great player, but if he was a ninja and acted that way, he would be labeled a bully, a thug, and God, I really would have liked him more, but his attitude just, caused me not to put him up there with the greats. But, because he's Larry, it was okay, and he was, gamesmanship, and he was an assassin, he's one of the greatest. Number 2, and this guy pissed me off, and he made me put him on my list, is Charles Barkley. And it's obvious, dude. I don't think he's lost. I don't think he's short-sighted. I think he's saying what he thinks the people around him want to hear to gain favor.
Yeah.
And for that I have no respect, and that's why he's number 2 on my list.
Zero respect.
Number 1.
Zero respect.
No, I'm sorry, bro.
No, zero respect. Go ahead. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, not a fan of the man anymore. Number 1 for me is Bill Romanowski, who never got labeled the a-hole that he was.
Didn't he spit in J.J. Stokes' face?
Yeah, he spit in J.J. Stokes' face. I watched him grab Shannon Sharp's left arm when they were running down the field. He was trying to tackle him. He grabbed it and jumped and twisted and broke his elbow on purpose. Yeah. And nobody said a damn word. I remember watching it. He was a dirty-ass player. He jumped on knees. He did crazy stuff. He allegedly took steroids. He allegedly told the guy, I got to take these roids so I can keep up with all these ninjas. That was a quote. And again, that story didn't get pursued, and they played it off, and they have him at the Full Living Network all the time and give him praises and show his health program, and it's a joke. Anybody else who played like that and acted that way, if they didn't look his way, look like him, would not be invited to the Full Living Network. And that's my list, man. Appreciate the show. Love it always. Keep it going, man. I'm going.
Hey, man. It's hard to argue with your list. It's hard to argue with your list, Ninja. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Ooh, you had a good-ass list. And I forgot about a couple of them dudes. I forgot totally about Bill Romanowski. But you know what? I kind of did my list, and it sounds like Ninja did his list based on political views. I kind of did my list based on simple stuff. I just don't like the guy. It's not really anything deep about it. It's about the feeling that I had as a kid or as a fan of sports in general that I just don't like this dude. Like, these are guys that I don't want to hang out with for one reason or the other. It's as simple as that. I didn't go to the depths of what Ninja did, and I'm not mad at you. I mean, that was impressive. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. But I kind of took the route of simplicity. Like, these are dudes that if they were around, that I would probably try to do something to have a fight with them. Or I would try to do something to get under their skin so they could want to get into a scuffle with me or whatever. These are dudes I don't want to go out and hang out with or have a beer with or anything like that. That's kind of the way I came up with my list. But your list, Ninja, took a lot of thought and a lot of passion. And you're right. On a lot of them, you are totally, totally right. Yeah, Bill Romanowski. Ooh, yeah. Allegedly, Rick Pitino threatened this chick's life. Okay? How many coaches you know in America can get away with getting a chick outside of his marriage pregnant, all right, in the situation for Rick Pitino, have the brand that he has, force the young lady to have an abortion, and threaten to kill her, and still regarded as one of the greatest names, one of the greatest peoples, one of the greatest coaches in college basketball. Most guys, that'd be it for them for their career. Period. Not Rick Pitino. And he is very outspoken and boisterous about it. I think Pitino's a great coach. We're not talking about his coaching. We're talking about this controversy that had with him, that America had with him. And, yeah, that ninja brought it up. Interesting stuff. All right, this is the Doug Stewart Show. When we get back from the break, I'll tell you my number one guy that I just despise. You could probably guess who that is based on the parameters of guys that I don't like that we've already seen on my list. You could probably guess, but we'll talk about that. And when we get back from the break, we'll kind of follow up on a couple other little news and notes in the world of the NFL. Alabama's fired their coach. Not football, but basketball. We'll talk a little bit about that. Read more of your chat. This is the Doug Stewart Show. What is 911 Tax Relief? It's a tax relief company that can help you reduce or remove your IRS or state tax debt. They'll help stop bank levies and wage garnishments by implementing offers and compromise or penalty abatements. 911 Tax Relief is a tax relief company, but they're different from the others. Their experts are licensed, enrolled tax agents, and they also have more than 12 years' experience helping people solve their tax problems. They're a tax relief company that understands how the IRS works, and they'll also put that knowledge to work for you, so they can get you the best possible settlement or solution to your tax problems. Highly rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they've helped thousands of people solve their tax problems. So, don't play around. Click on their link on my website and let 911 Tax Relief help you in your situation with Uncle Sam.
The Doug Stewart Show.
The place where the real players play.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service.
The Doug Stewart Show.
That's a brand name. Like Pepsi, that's a brand name. I stand behind it. I guarantee it.
The Doug Stewart Show.
If you ain't stewing, what the hell are you doing? Yeah! Fantasy sports fans are winning huge cash prizes every day at DraftKings.com. America's favorite place to play daily fantasy sports. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Just pick your sport and draft your team. It's like a new season every time you play, so you're never stuck with the same players. Last year, $300 million were won at DraftKings.com, and you could be next to win big. Go to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code STU to play for free. That's STU for free entry now at DraftKings.com. Also, if you use promo code STU, DraftKings will match your initial deposit up to $600. Deposit $600, play with $1,200. DraftKings.com, promo code STU. Welcome to the Doug Stewart Show, or welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show, talking about the top 5 guys you hate in sports of all times, all tied into I hate Christian Laettner. Last night on the Puppet Factory, which was fantastic. I mean, they know how to do that type of thing. They're the best at that. So I've been giving you my list all day long today. Number 5 was Brett Favre. Number 4, Steve Nash. Number 3 was Christian Laettner. Number 2 was Larry Bird. I'll give you number 1 in a little while. But, man, and I didn't tease this before the break, but, I mean, we got to get to it at some point. Very, very passionate conversation this past weekend about Creflo Dollar, the mega preacher here in Metro Atlanta. And what's the name of his church? I'm sorry, I don't know the name of his church.
World Changers.
World Changers. Okay, let me say this before I even get into this conversation. Thank you, Tree. Let me get into this. Let me say this before I get into this conversation. You're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. In no way am I, in effect, talking bad about mega preachers, Creflo Dollar, World Changers, or anything like that. the way I put it on my Facebook when I asked the question this weekend is I'm just asking a question, okay? And the question is simply this. And you don't know the story. He asked his parishioners. He asked, 200,000 parishioners to donate $300, and that would help him in the ministry get a $67 million airplane. Yeah, $67 million. And the studio audience is perplexed too. But the way I kind of put it is, I'm just asking the question. I'm asking the question. Don't you think that it would be better, okay, or it would be more in line with the purpose of a minister? And I'm just asking the question. Instead of asking your parishioners to donate $67 million, wouldn't it be better? Wouldn't it be better to take the difference between what you would spend on this plane and fly commercial, buy you a nice car, buy you, I don't know, a Cadillac Escalade or whatever for $50,000, and take the difference from the $67 million and help the community, help your parishioners, your congregation, help out, kids going to school that need money to go to school. Because in my mind, and listen, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, I don't have a problem for people living a good lifestyle and a bountiful lifestyle. I don't have a problem with that at all. I came from a family, I've mentioned it before on the show, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. My grandfather was a preacher. I would consider my family very religious. My grandfather was a preacher, so all of his kids are heavy into the church. Shouts out to Centenaire United Methodist Church in Moncks Corner, South Carolina, Oakley, South Carolina, actually. So obviously, came up in the church. I have always felt that the purpose of a minister and of a church is to deliver the gospel, to save souls, and to help people. That's it. That's it. To me, okay, I understand you want to have nice things. I don't have a problem with that, Mr. Creflo Dollar. I don't have a problem with that. But I think it's all about being reasonable. And I don't think asking your parishioners to buy a luxury item, because it is a luxury item. At the end of the day, a $67 million plane for your personal use is not reasonable. That's all I'm saying. It's not reasonable. Once again, get you a nice, Escalade, a Cadillac. Get you a Benz. Get you a Benz. And the difference, and I'm not going to even try to call out the number that I threw. And me and Tree had this conversation off record a couple of days ago, and I'm trying to find it. I don't know the exact number after you take away. So you're talking, you're going to have a refund of about $66,999,950,000. Right. Don't you think, or isn't it understandable for people to be mad at a preacher who should be doing the things that I just mentioned, to ask for such a luxury when it could be used for so much more? That's what I don't get. That's what I don't get. And I don't have a problem for people asking for, nice things and wanting to live a nice life. I'm not saying the preacher should be poor, but it's almost also a conversation that we were having, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart on this whole thing on Facebook, where I almost expect my preacher to live a modest life, not to live excess, because excess, once again, should be used for the people, for the people. And this just seemed, when I heard this story, once again, I'm not judging, I'm asking a question. That's the bottom line. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. And no one really has given me a realistic, honest answer that I can take and say that the preacher or this preacher asking for $67 million isn't offensive. Tell me why it's not offensive. Make me understand. Okay, I'm not judging. Technically, what I'm going to say is I'm not judging. And I really believe I'm not judging. I just don't understand. I just don't get it. If you're someone out there that can explain to me why this is reasonable, why it's not excessive, and why it's not, in effect, offensive, I'd like to hear that. That's all I'm saying. Because, and Tree's jumping on. Tree is one of the people that have, I don't want to say you're siding with him, but you kind of understand him, Tree?
You can say whatever you'd like. I love your opinion, and I want to...
Oh, yeah. Now, listen, anybody that has a differing opinion of mine, I'm not mad at you. I mean, this is all like Bernie Mac used to say. Was it Bernie Mac? This ain't nothing but healthy conversation. This ain't nothing but healthy conversation.
It seems like everyone's missing what the use of the plane would be for. That's first of all. I do agree that I don't know how much a plane cost. I know that his first plane he purchased from Kenneth Copeland, and it was used, and it's 30 years old. And I have a very close friend who is friends with his daughter and received, I guess when the plane crashed, he got the pictures and video from that incident that happened a couple of months ago. But it feels like, no, it seems like people are missing why he's using the plane. I don't believe God is in a box, so you can't tell me to just stay in one place to do ministry work.
No, but Tree, what about just flying commercial? I mean, that's
why
reasonable.
Would you give Delta money repeatedly? I mean, these people, Creflo, Joyce, TD, Joel.
They could fly 50 people from the ministry every time they go anywhere to help people commercially, and it will never equal $67 million for the next 50 years.
Those costs include the pilot, things like gas. I mean, people who are saying, what is he doing in the community? They haven't researched if he's doing anything or not. I haven't researched. No,
and that once again, don't twist my words, okay? I understand they want to go out in this plane to do things, worldly. What I'm saying is, and this is crazy because I just see somebody pointed it out in the chat room. When the first thing I heard about this story, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, the first thing that crossed my mind when I heard this story is, man, they about to shut down my university. They were trying to, the state legislature was trying to shut down South Carolina State, and I really haven't talked about this on the show, for $17 million. And you're talking about a school that's been around for over 100 years that have educated, over 40,000 black men and women in this country, and they're about to shut it down for $17 stinking million, and Creflo Dollar's buying a $65 million plane? I can never understand that. We need that money. We need that money. We need $17 million, and that would be much better spent than $65 million on a plane that you necessarily don't even need.
So why don't you ask? Just like he
I'm asking right now.
Okay, put your GoFundMe up. Listen, Doug, you can do ministry in 1965 in Monk's Corner, or you can get with 2015. And in 2015, ain't nobody trying to be up in no church. I mean, these kids, these people in other places, countries, wherever, it's a new day and it is a new time. And I'm sorry. It's disappointing that his PR people didn't do a better job of, saying, well, probably shouldn't do a GoFundMe. Let's just they have all kinds of different ways of raising money.
Right. It's
from within. And if anybody thinks that Martin Luther King didn't ask for donations to do the amazing work that he did, they're crazy.
But you keep skipping the point. Reasonable.
No, we're in agreement on that.
Well, we agree. In effect, we agree. No one's saying that preachers are wrong for asking for money. That's the business of church. But reasonable, and this looks so bad, and clearly, and the other part of the story for people that don't know is they've since, because of the backlash, pulled down the campaign to try to raise this $67 million. Let me say this. We got to go to break, Tree. And once again, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at anybody that understands this or thinks that this is cool. What I want to put out there right now, though, and I want to put this out there right now because you're right, okay? I don't think it's unreasonable for me to ask. I'll need Creflo Dollar, and I need, World Changers? Yeah, I need World Changers to give South Carolina State $17 million so we can get up off of this schneid. I need it. We need it, okay? And I don't think it's unreasonable. We need $17 million right now. We don't need 65. We don't need 65, and it's not $65 million that is going to go for some luxury. or for us to buy a new gym or something like that. No, we need $17 million to keep the bill collector, the tax collector off our back and continue the business of educating black men and women in this country. So I'm putting it out there. Somebody listening to the show right now, can you get word to Creflo? Can you get word to World Changers? Doug Stewart is requesting $17 million. That's all we need is $17 million. We need a lot more, but $17 million will help us breathe comfortably, okay? $17 million. I'm putting it out there. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Doug Stewart. Somebody listening to the show right now goes to World Changes. You've read the stories about South Carolina State University being this hole, them proposing to shutting the doors for a couple of years, which is hogwash. It's not going to happen now. That's all gone. But for us, for the university and the family of South Carolina State University, once again, that's been around for over 100 years and educated more than 100 or 30 to 35,000 black men and women in this country. We need $17 million. So I am asking. You're exactly right. Asking, you will receive. I'm asking for it. I am asking for it. Creflo, can you help your boy out? I'm not asking for $67 million. Not going to buy a plane with it. We need to keep the doors open and to breathe easy. That's what we need. South Carolina State University. Give us $17 million. Tree, you're exactly right. I'm glad you said that because you're right. Asking, you shall receive. And I think that money would be well spent. Much better spent than helping us pay our bills. Than to help pay our bills. Than to get a jet when Delta is fine. Shouts out to Delta. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. No, I'm not taking a shot at anybody. I'm just thinking out loud. And I'm asking questions. That's all. But we do need that $17 million. I am putting that out there in the atmosphere. All right? Don't go anywhere. The Doug Stewart Show. System 5 Electronics is proud to offer my listeners in the Atlanta area the most affordable home security monitoring systems, featuring smart solutions for your busy lifestyle for as low as $16.50 per month. Here's just a few reasons to choose System 5. Not only is their monitoring station located here in Atlanta, but they also install the most advanced, up-to-date alarm systems where you can access cameras, lights, door locks, thermostats, and other devices remotely with your smartphone. 24/7 technical support, plus the lowest service call fees in the business. And check this, you own your security alarm system once it's installed. Not only have they been around for almost 25 years, but their customer service is excellent. And you get direct access to the owner, Mr. Maceo Brown, to resolve any issues with your alarm system. Click on the banner on the Doug Stewart Show website or app for more details, or give them a call at 404-756-0736. Again, that's 404-756-0736. And make sure and tell them the Doug Stewart Show sent you. Yes! Fantasy sports fans are winning huge cash prizes every day at DraftKings.com. America's favorite place to play daily fantasy sports. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Just pick your sport and draft your team. It's like a new season every time you play. So, you're never stuck with the same players. Last year, $300 million were won at DraftKings.com, and you could be next to win big. Go to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code STU to play for free. That's STU for free entry now at DraftKings.com. Also, if you use promo code STU, DraftKings will match your initial deposit up to $600. Deposit $600, play with $1,200. DraftKings.com, promo code STU. This is your folk, Doug Stewart. Want to protect you and your family from life's unexpected mishaps? Then join 7. Join 7 is a prepaid legal company under the umbrella of the Protection Group. Join 7 is the only group benefit or motor club in the U.S. that offers auto reimbursement coverage, key replacement coverage, roadside assistance, gives you a current Medi-File, prescription savings, and fully encompassed prepaid legal benefits that include identity theft. They got your back. The average combined cost to purchase these benefits individually is over $850 a year. Join today and take advantage of all 7 for $17 a month. They've been around for over 20 years, so check them out by clicking on the banner link on my page, thedougstewartshow.com, or the app. Just go ahead and join 7. Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. Man. And let me say this, man. Because Tree gave somewhat of a differing opinion on this whole Creflo Dollar thing, man, let's be civil. Let's be civil. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. And everybody's not going to agree. And I don't think Tree is agreeing, on the whole premise of getting this money for this plane. I kind of understand where she's going from, but let's be civil. Let's not be mean to people just because they have a different opinion about you, about a topic than you do. All right, come on now. Tree is family. Tree, get on the mic for a second here, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show.
You don't have to do that. I am a big girl. I'm fine. I believe what I believe, and I certainly respect everyone else's. I am a visionary, and I believe that spirit that I have is partially a lot of why we're here, and so I'm okay with it. And I love everybody.
I just want to make sure and say that for the record that you my gal. I love you. I mean,
show me the money.
If it wasn't for and I've said this many times before, if it wasn't for Tree, I mean, there would probably be no the Doug Stewart Show. So I love you. From William Wharton, if he didn't think it was unreasonable, he wouldn't have taken it down. If it was legit, he wouldn't be shamed into removing it. And I agree with that. And that kind of sums up the whole thing. And whether it was an ill-advised campaign by his PR department, and they got a PR department at that church, whether it was an ill-advised campaign by the PR department, they didn't think it through or whatever, just like not re-signing DeMarco Murray to the Dallas Cowboys, it's just a bad look, man. It's just a bad look. And that's the only issue I have with this is it reasonable? I mean, in effect, with $67 million, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, with $67 million, in effect, you could, with one fell swoop, wipe out homelessness in Atlanta. I mean, am I crazy? Would $67 million not do it? I mean, $67 million would make a huge dent in getting people up off the street, man. That's how I look at it. I guess I'm simple. I guess I'm a country boy, and I look at things very simplistic. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about a better way to do child support. Just show the man receipts. Just show the judge receipts. And in this conversation, it's the same thing, man. It's very simple to me. Get on a commercial plane. There's never going to be that many people or that amount of plane trips that's going to equal to $67 million. Get on the plane commercial. You and all your peoples, struggle through that. You can get on first class. Hell, I'm fine. Get on first class and take that money and do positive in the community. Like I said in the last segment, man, I mean, we really could use $17 million, and I am asking for it. And Tree was right. Asking you receive. Sometimes we don't ask, and so you're not going to receive. I get that. I understand that whole philosophy. I definitely get that. So for the record, once again, somebody please get word, and I'm not joking. It might sound like I'm joking and I'm playing radio. I am serious. I am as serious as a heart attack right now. I need South Carolina State in particular, talking about me, my university, South Carolina State needs $17 million to get us off the snide as far as our bills and conducting the business of the university. Creflo, world changes. Let us hold something. Like they say in the country, let us hold something. It sounds like I'm joking, but I'm really not. I mean, we need $17 million, man, and to continue the business of educating people in this country that a lot of times may not even have the chance. How about that? I talked about the top 5 and love the chat, man. Shouts out to everybody in the chat room. This is what we do on this show, man. And, I kind of had reservations about even talking about this because when we first got into radio, our program director, it's kind of like one of the first things they teach you in radio, I guess, even though we didn't go to broadcasting school or anything like that, but our program director, you never should talk politics and you should never talk about religion. I don't really feel like that we're talking religion. We're not talking about the Bible and its meaning and passages and that type of thing. This is kind of outside the realm of quote-unquote talking about religion. So I was okay with bringing up this story because it was the top trending thing of the weekend, and that's what we do, is we talk about what people are talking about, okay? So there it is, and you're listening to The Doug Stewart Show. Top 5 guys I hated in sports or have hated in sports all time. All of this came from the conversation about Christian Laettner last night on ESPN, the 30 for 30. I hate Christian Laettner. Number 5 for me was Brett Favre. Number 4 was Steve Nash. Number 3 was Christian Laettner. Number 2 was Larry Bird. And number 1, and there's not really a definitive reason on why I hate this guy so much, is just because I do. And that's Danny Ainge. Man, let me tell you something. And Danny Ainge is an NBA player. He was a solid player. He was never a great player. But there was something about Danny Ainge that got under the skin of so many NBA players and so many fans. It was just his mannerisms, his facial expressions. It was something about Danny Ainge. And once again, I can't really put my finger on it exactly what it is, something tangible, like I could for some of these other guys, like Brett Favre. I thought he was fake. Steve Nash, I just thought that it was a personal situation between me and Steve Nash. Larry Bird, because Larry Bird was really like the arch nemesis of one of my favorite players growing up, Dr. J. Danny Ainge wasn't that great of a player that we should even care about. But if you grew up watching Danny Ainge in the Boston Celtics or back during that era of the 80s and his game and his, the way that he conducted himself, Danny Ainge was probably the most hated guy in my neighborhood. We hated Danny Ainge. We did. So Danny Ainge, for no real good reason, comes in at number 1 on my list of top 5 guys I hated of all times. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, old Danny Ainge. Yeah, old Danny Ainge. Yeah. Oh, man, we had so much great chat today. I didn't even get a chance to get all of it or read as much as I could or would like to have. But thank you so much for all of the chat today, man. I really do appreciate it. I really do. Yeah! Are you not entertained? That's the question I got for you. Are you not entertained? Woo! This is the Doug Stewart Show. And appreciate you joining me on Man Talk Monday. We'll do it again tomorrow. This ain't nothing but healthy conversation. Once again, nothing but healthy conversation on the Doug Stewart Show. Monday through Friday, live from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. It's also a podcast as well. So as soon as this show is over, you can re-listen to the show again. And the intriguing sports talk and guy talk and, just talk in general on the Doug Stewart Show. Shouts out to you, Tree. Thank you so much for what you did today on the show. Once again, if it was no you, there'd be no me. Dwayne Bassan, Gerald Oliveri, thank y'all guys so much, my engineering guys. Waterhead Walter, appreciate all you did today, Walter. Thank you very much. And all of the listeners, the Stewies I call them, in the chat room. Thank y'all so much. Thank you. We'll do it again tomorrow. Same Doug time, same Doug Stewart channel. Peace.